Hello and welcome back. We're back to our section 3 now. So we're going to discuss, I think it's always quite a good quote to say, is that movies tend to only be really as good as their villains. No, maybe not. I don't know. You're just sitting there like, no.
Oh, no, I'm trying
You've watched some pretty good movies with some bad villains. Have you? I don't know. You're thinking.
I've forgotten about every single film I've ever seen now. There probably has been some shocking villains that are in some good films, maybe.
Maybe that's why I don't like the Iron Man movies. They don't tend to usually have good villains. Is that it?
Now you mention it.
Before we go back
Hold
into
on a second.
Before we dive deeper into psyche, let's get back to the topic. It's set here. So we've got, obviously, the main villain for this Batman movie was the Riddler, yeah?
Yes, it was.
I think you thought he was a pretty great villain, yeah?
He was a really good villain. I enjoyed him as a villain. Because it was, it really just represented, like, society.
Yeah, I think this movie was very good with representing how toxic social media can really get.
Mm-hmm.
Especially because I think the Riddler himself was very weedy, I'd say. Like, you know,
Yeah.
I feel like I'd take him on in a fight, you know.
Oh yeah, I could easily take him in a fight.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is as well is because you don't really get to see his face until
You don't see it till
the
like
final hour of the movie.
Yeah, when he's finally revealed his face, and I think it's just I kind of knew what he looked like just from people posting pictures of what he looked like, but at the same time it's just like the way it looks is just so good. He looks just like an average person who just passing the street.
Yeah, somebody you would probably ignore.
He's back in like a duffel coat and like glasses and like blue jeans. He literally just a normal guy.
He almost dressed kind of childlike, I thought. Like there's something very someone that hasn't grown up. That's what I constantly got this feeling from.
Yeah, obviously his mentality is kind of scary. That's the thing about him. Even though he looks like just normal, it's his mentality is scary. Like he is psychotic. He is like he's killed people. Like
he's smart.
Yeah, he's smart. He's scary in that way. But his reasons for doing it at the end of the day are kind of childlike. Like it's just a constant crave for attention. He is a whiny crybaby. Like in the scene where Batman goes to see him in prison.
Yeah.
He is like a crybaby. He starts like screaming like, no, this is not how it's supposed to go. Like obviously he thought Batman was with him type thing, but obviously Batman wasn't. No. We all knew that. But he was in his head. He thought he was, and he literally has a proper like mental like childlike breakdown.
It's a tantrum, isn't it?
It's a proper tantrum, yeah, effectively. And I thought it was just so good.
Yeah, I think you kind of made a good point. We were talking about it last night, obviously we planned the show, and you thought he almost kind of represents a sort of incel mentality.
Yeah, so I like the way that he was, written, and also the way they made him look like was he kind of does like incel like motives, but then making him be this like weedy, almost like late teens guy. Like incels can't idolise him because he is a weakling.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really well done, because the problem is we do characters like that, a lot of incels go, I could be like him, because he's like the strong like person. No, he is like a weed. He's a walking weed.
Exactly. Like, I think one of the things that the Batman movies, obviously they had, it was Batman v Superman, they had obviously Lex Luthor, who was played by, I can't remember
Jesse Eisenberg.
I
do remember that.
But I think the problem is Lex Luthor was almost meant to be like the Riddler, but it's Jesse Eisenberg, so he's pretty good looking, so we can almost forgive him for making all these horrible decisions and mistakes and all these horrible crimes he's committed.
I mean, okay, Rose, that's
okay, come on, he's a alright looking guy. Meanwhile,
the only thing I've ever seen him in apart from Justice League is The Social Network, and he plays Mark Zuckerberg, so I really don't think that's a good plane to base it on.
Yeah, but he's like, you would say he's passable. He's somebody, right. Anyway, we're getting away from it. But I also thought that the whole idea was he wasn't kind of the final villain that Batman has to defeat. The final villain is, of course, his 500 followers that he has on Snapchat or whatever.
And you mentioned, because
they
show like almost like a screen recording of like his like live streams, social media, and you didn't know so much as I did the comments that were obviously like, fake, but in terms of the
they sounded a lot like the tweets that we saw that were
from his
Well,
followers.
no, it looked like obviously the Capitol riots that happened just last year, wasn't it, in January? It looked a lot like those kind of tweets that were sent. Like, it was. That was my first thought when I saw it. I was like, that is those tweets. They've just copied and pasted them. I don't think they obviously had, but they've sounded scarily similar.
It was also scary similar was the fact that he was like going on about like, oh, thank you for the support in this community and all that for like his, you know, his crazy followers. And one comment, because it's like, oh, we need to take arms ourselves type thing, because obviously he knew he was going to get arrested.
Yeah.
But it was more like, you know, his followers to then take on. And one comment that stuck out for me was like someone just saying, oh, we can all grab rifles, something to do with rifles. And that was weirdly like eerie, because I was like, that was weirdly realistic.
Yeah, and it's the idea that they all just managed to get past pretty lax security for the new mayor of Gotham.
But to be fair though, I think what happened, I'm just thinking of like timescale, when the seawall like exploded and Gotham started to get flooded, I think that's when they broke in, when security was like at a frenzy, rushing everyone in. They probably snuck in then. They probably looked like normal people and then put like their masks and their weapons were in their rucksacks. That's what I'm thinking, because I just feel like maybe it was just a bad plot like that. I don't think so. Just how neatly woven and tight the writing was in this film, I don't think that was something they would just let slip. I think that's probably what happened, was they snuck in with the chaos, and that makes sense.
Yeah. Anyway, I think that finishes up this section. We're going to move on to our second last song. It's a little bit more upbeat than what we've had for our previous 3 songs. So it's called Use Somebody by the Kings of Leon. So let's get some good music on, shall we?